Welcome to our Alpaka Bravo Sling Max V2 review. In this review, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know to decide whether or not this is the sling / messenger / briefcase for you. And if it's not, you're going to want to stick around to the end of the video where I'll make some alternative recommendations. First up, let's talk about the gist of the Alpaka Bravo Sling Max V2. As the name would suggest, this is a max-sized sling. It's big, designed by Alpaka, and it's the second version. Alpaka reigns from Australia. They're one of the newer kids on the block in terms of the carry community, but they're crushing it, and this sling is a great example as to why. But while the name says sling in it, which yes, it's a big MFer of a sling, it can also be worn as a messenger, and the shoulder strap can come off, and you can go into pure briefcase mode. Some of the top features are weather-resistant materials, a very loud blue ripstop nylon interior, tons of thoughtful organization, the ability to carry up to a 14-inch Macbook Pro laptop, external charging port, hidden back pocket, a real comfy and cool-looking shoulder strap. We'll talk about that in depth in the last section of this review, and a bunch of other stuff. You got two material options. There's 1000D ballistic nylon, or this guy, the gray, is 750D faux wool. The 1000D ballistic nylon will be a little bit smoother to the touch and will give a little bit more of a techie look, which is a little bit scratchier of a feel and a little bit classier of a look. But no matter the material, both bags weigh around 1.5 pounds. And as for size, the Alpaka Bravo Sling Max V2 is 10 liters in capacity. This is the sling when it's empty, and this is the sling when it's fully packed and worn on me. For reference, I'm 5'8". And I'm gonna pack out this sling throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. All Alpaka products come with a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects. And both materials, whether it's the ballistic nylon or the faux, whatever the F wool, will run you about 130 USD. Now, if at any point in the review you're like, holy moly, that blue interior, it can fit a laptop, it's a messenger sling brief combo, I love it, I'm buying it, 130 is a steal. And if you're gonna make a purchase, we do ask that you do so using the first link in the description. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and it also helps to support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you very much. All right, let's break this bugger down and talk about the outside of the Alpaka Bravo Sling Max V2. We always start with the branding. Alpaka has like this leather tab right here, sort of a black on black, not too loud, but not too subtle branding. I don't think it'll offend most of you. I also don't know if it's real leather, but it looks like real leather, so we'll just pretend it's real leather. As for the materials, like I said, this is the fake wool version, but we do have some ballistic nylon on the bottom, sort of give it like a two material tone. The ballistic nylon on the bottom is a little bit tougher of a material, so whenever you put the bag down, whether you accidentally put it in a puddle or something, this should just add a little bit extra weather resistance. Like I said, the faux, I can't say that word. Whatever it is, the wool has a little slight scratchiness to it. Personally, I think the ballistic nylon version looks a little bit smarter, but it's nice that Alpaka gives you the option. Let's start with this first front pocket right here. This pocket is accessible with YKK zippers that are in fact lockable. One thing about the zippers is that I wish that Alpaka would have included some sort of zipper pulls. I'm not a big fan of just like raw zippers by themselves, but you can always go on Amazon and add those yourself if you want. These YKK zippers are PU coated, which offers additional weather resistance. And then once you get in, you can see we got lots of pockets. And this, what I assume to be super controversial choice of color with this interior material. I assume this is gonna be a make or break for a lot of you guys out there. For me, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it. I like and respect the bold decision by Alpaka to do something a bit different, and I love different interior colored materials. But this blue for me, I don't know, it's not my thing. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? You digging the blue, not working for you, or a little bit more in the middle? Let me know in the comments below. But in this compartment, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smaller pockets. And this guy right here, keyring, let's talk about it. Quite cool is that Alpaka includes this with the Bravo Sling Max V2. It's a magnetic connection, super satisfying to take off and to snap back on. And the location is obviously the perfect spot for your keys because all you gotta do is get into this front pocket. When you wanna get into your front door, go ahead and pop that off, super easy, snap it back into place, and it's always here, quickly accessible, and nice and tidy. These two pockets are small, yet again, this whole compartment in the front is great for quick access things. So for me, that's gonna be for things like my AirPods, some tissues. Flipping over to the other side, I'm gonna throw my wallet in this mesh pocket right there. And these two bigger pockets, what shall I put in you? I'm gonna throw my sunglasses in there, protein bar, charging cables, basically all the things that I want quick access to are gonna be in here. Ultimately, it's nice and tidy. I like how the compartment actually opens. It's not too tight. These gussets right here help keep the pocket in place without tightening it too much. Overall, solid compartment. Next up, let's talk about one very interesting feature, which is this guy right here. This allows you to do two things. One, externally charge something like your phone or your iPad to Type-C charger, but also you can pop this thing off and you can see we have a little pin, right, for your phone. And then in these two slots right here, you can fit SIM cards. That's why I think this is actually kind of like a cool little travel companion. The charging port by itself is obviously very functional, but then when you are going from country to country, you're not gonna really think about opening this very often, but when you do need that SIM card, land in Tokyo, you got a week in Japan. Like, oh yeah, that's right, I got the international SIM card in there. Go ahead and pop it off. Good to go. Now flip it over to the back. Let's talk about the shoulder strap. First of all, the strap is connected via magnets. Now this is not your typical Fidlock magnetic connection. This is made from mag locks. Now I've seen this hardware before, and I think it's actually pretty good. It doesn't have the name brand that Fidlock has, but it gets the job done. The strap itself has very nice nylon webbing. This is not cheap. It's got a nice silky feel to it. And then along the strap, we have all these external lash points. Now these are good for your normal carabiners, right? You want to clip something on, you can do so. But it's actually designed for Alpaka's modular ecosystem, where they have all these little clip-ons. You can go ahead and pop it on right there. I have not personally tested out these modular add-ons, but they look pretty nifty. I'm not a big like external carry guy, but if you are, something you should definitely check out. And then in the middle of the strap, we have this magnetic connection right here. Yet again, made by mag locks, and it's just a way to open and close the strap. And to put the actual mag locks on the bags, just go ahead and pop it into place. And to take it off, you just push your finger down to release. Getting the actual lock itself on can be a little finicky, but you get used to it after a couple tries. And when it's on, let's talk about the actual comfort. Now this padding by Alpaka, this like modern cubism space foam, looks like a freaking Picasso painting, is a little controversial. Some people hate it. Other people like myself, I quite like it. I find it comfy, I find it breathable, and I think it's a cool branding point by Alpaka that for me doesn't compromise comfort. Padding is nice, thick. And speaking of thick, the whole sort of strap feels like kind of thick and beefy in general. This is one thing to keep in mind with this sling is that it's not super heavy, 1.5 pounds, not the end of the world, but it's got like a beefiness to it, right? Not only in the front when you're wearing like this big old thing on the front of your chest or your back, the strap is super beefy, this magnetic clip is super beefy, and it's just like there's a lot of beefiness going on. Which I think is fine when you're in messenger mode, but when you're in sling mode, it gets extra beefy. If you know what I mean. No, you don't? I didn't think so. Nobody knows what I ever mean. And then when you want to switch from like sling mode to messenger mode, you can go and do so here. Easy to tighten and to loosen it. And then Alpaka was kind enough to give us this little guy right here, this nylon web loop holder, keep the dangle in its place. We're not big fans of dangle on this channel. Moving on, let's talk about this handle right here. Talk about beefy. This has got a beefiness to it as well. A little bit of padding on the bottom. So going into briefcase mode, I would say is okay because it's sort of on the side like this. You know, you have an old school briefcase, the handle's gonna be right on top, nice, easy to grab, and nice and comfortable to hold. This is not gonna be quite the same experience. It gets the job done, but I would say this is definitely a sling / messenger first and a briefcase distant third, down there somewhere. And then underneath the handle, we have this little hidden pocket. Great for things that you want to keep sort of discreet, safe, because it's going to be pressed against your body, right? So it's less likely to be identified, selected by an ambitious thief. So for me, if I'm traveling with it, I might put something like my passport and some backup cash in there, right? Just keep it safe against my body. I know it's just always there in case I need it. And then finally on the bottom, we have this external lash point. Great for clipping things onto that you want to carry things externally with. Carabiner, water bottle, you can get creative. Like I said, I'm not a big external carry kind of a person. All right, let's talk about the inside of the Alpaka Bravo Max Sling V2. I kind of already talked about the front pocket here, but now let's talk about the main compartment. Yet again, 2 lockable YKK zips. No zipper pulls, and do notice we got a little bit of jingle going on. It's like Christmas come early, which can be a little annoying, especially when these 2 zips and these 2 zips join forces, and you got a lot of like jingle going on, so keep that in mind. I like to keep these zips on separate sides, but you're still getting the jangle. But the PU-coated zipper, yet again, keeps your gear protected from the elements. One thing to know is that the opening of this main compartment, unlike this front compartment, is a little compromised. You can see it doesn't come all the way up. There wasn't a way that they could do that with this design. So when you're getting in this guy, you gotta kind of like hold it a little bit. It's not the end of the world, just something to be aware of. And then when we're inside, ooh, we got that blue interior again. Please let me know in the comments below what you think about this blue interior. I need to hear your thoughts. And then from there, we have the laptop sleeve on the back, the main compartment itself, and then 2 pockets. Let's talk about it. The laptop compartment has this really nice microfiber material and a decent amount of padding, which means that your laptop's gonna be protected, right? Can fit up to a 14-inch MacBook Pro, so my 13-inch fits with room to spare, slides right in there. And you gotta love a sling that can fit a laptop. So if you're looking for like a daily driver for your work or for traveling, right? I think this is a great companion on a flight, especially if you're working on that flight. All your work stuff can be in here. These 2 pockets here, they're a bit beefier. This one is a bit beefier than this one. And the reason being, you can see that the external charging port connects to this pocket. You can see the wire is right here. So that's where you're gonna wanna put your battery, and some people have like big charging batteries, right? I am not one of those people. I got a smaller one. We'll go ahead and start loading this guy out. So I'm gonna put my charging battery there, put some excess charging cables and headphones on the other side. Now I'm gonna test out how max this actually is. I got my Sony overhead headphones, the newest version, the XM whatever 5s. Can this fit in here as well? Really impressive, yes it can. Okay, so we got some really impressive capacity in the main compartment. But yeah, overall that 10 liters is pretty good. You actually got a decent amount of expansion in this main compartment. Now let's talk about the back compartment. Now you'd think, oh, well that's the laptop compartment, but it's not because of the laptop in the other compartment. This is sort of like a techie organized compartment, which you can also fit a tablet. You can see right here, we got 1, 2, 3 pen holders, another medium-sized pocket, then the actual main spot itself, this is where you put the tablet. And yet again, this is lined with microfiber material, which keeps your laptop safe and protected. So go ahead and throw some pens in there. Pen numero uno, numero dos. This is not big enough, this pocket, unfortunately, for my regular sized moleskin. So I'm gonna just slide the moleskin right there, which is fine. It's fine, I'm not mad about it. You can see, now we're fully packed out. Let's do one more comfort test. The beefiness of the strap does really help with the comfort, especially this Caso NASA foam. For me, I'm always gonna be rocking this thing in messenger mode because like just having this big old blob on my chest just doesn't work for me. But one thing to know is this is definitely meant to be a sling. And the reason being is you can see that there's one side that has more excess nylon than the other side, right? That's because most people are gonna wear this in sling mode. When you wear it in sling mode, you're wearing it over one shoulder with the bag in front of you. Now, one cool thing is that you're able to switch the side, right? So if you are left-handed and you wanted this to be on your left shoulder and vice versa, you can go ahead and switch it around, pop it into place, and it's good to go like that. But because of it being better in sling mode, when it's in messenger mode and you're fully slacked out, the padding is not gonna be perfectly centered. It still works, you're still getting the padding where you need it to be, but it's something to be aware of. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of the Alpaka Bravo Sling Max V2. Pro number 1 is versatile carrying options. Pro number 2 is great organization. And pro number 3 is I think this external charging port is a very functional feature. But on the flip side, I got some cons. Here they are. Con number 1 is a bit of limited access to the main compartment. Con number 2 is keep in mind that when it's being worn as a sling, it is quite bulky. And con number 3, maybe the jury's still out on this blue material. I gotta hear what you think about this blue material. Please let me know in the comments below. But if you're like, dude, pros and cons, I've weighed them. I'm totally getting one of these slings. And you're gonna make a purchase. Just remember that we do ask that you do so using the first link in the description. Remember, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and often we have discount code. But that link also helps to support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you very much. But if you're not quite sold, let me provide you some alternative recommendations for slings and messengers that might better suit your needs. Alternative recommendation number 1 is going to be the Alpaka Messenger. This is for you if you're totally digging the Alpaka vibe, all the features, and the modular ecosystem, but you want something a bit more bigger. You don't need a sling, you just need a messenger. If that sounds like you, be sure to take a look at our full review, which you can find in the description below. Alternative recommendation number 2 is going to be the Peak Design Everyday Sling. Great option for you if you're looking for a sling that's a little bit lighter, not quite as like bulky and beefy, but still has great materials and organization, and especially if you're a photographer. To learn more about the Peak Design Everyday Sling, take a look at the description below and you'll find links to our full review. And finally, alternative recommendation number 3 is going to be the Air Tech Sling 2. One of my favorite slings of all time. It's sort of like a sling, messenger, briefcase, half backpack, all forged into one. As the name suggests, it's awesome for tech gear. It's a killer travel companion. And to learn more about it, simply watch this video right here. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you think about the Alpaka Bravo Max Sling V2. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation. We'll catch you next time.